So a few weeks ago, I made a video about 7 common misconceptions about space. Considering that our imagination never stops to try and make sense of things around us, it is expected that we are going to have a lot of opinions on how and why things happen around us, including the vast and mysterious void of space. Science is our tool to unriddle the great mysteries, and it helped us to reach heights that would be considered a domain of fiction just a few hundred years ago. In fairness, there are a lot of things and occurrences that will remain out of our reach for the foreseeable future. That might be one of the reasons why we still continue to come up with some insane and ludicrous explanations, or some that are just wrong with little to no desire to be corrected. Because of this, I figured let's give it another go. Greetings everyone, my name is Nikola Tomic, and in today's video we're going to talk about another 7 common misconceptions that some people have about space. Number 1, there is no sound in space. So for many of us on Earth, hearing sounds is something that is a part of everyday life and something that we don't necessarily think about on a daily basis, but we do experience it every day. Whenever you're talking to somebody or clapping your hands, for example, you are producing waves of energy that agitate the molecules of air, thus creating a chain reaction that goes far and wide. Space, however, has no air, thus nothing can be used as a medium to transfer this sound impulse through its molecular thread. At least that's part of the truth. See, although this is correct and applies to most of the space, there are some exceptions. Certain galaxy clusters are composed of various gases that do possess properties such as the air composition here on Earth. Perseus galaxy cluster, for example, is one of the largest structures in the known universe that has a black hole in its center that has been associated with producing sound waves that then get transferred through the cluster thanks to the enormous gas cloud that envelop it. Scientists have been tracking this for decades and even managed to extract some of the sound notes that, after being amplified, can be heard by humans. Number 2, astronauts on ISS experience zero gravity. Gravitational pull is associated with any object that has mass. This applies to Earth as well as any other planet and object in the universe, while its intensity depends on the amount and concentration of the present mass. Even humans, as well as any other organism, exert gravitational pull, but because its effect is negligible, we cannot notice it in our everyday lives. When we look at astronauts on the International Space Station, for example, we can clearly see that they're floating in the weightless state, seemingly with no gravitational effect, at least not the visible one. The reason behind this, however, is not the fact that they're too far from the Earth, thus they do not experience the pull, but rather the fact that they, together with the station and any other object around them, are in a state of a continuous free fall. Matter of fact, the ISS experiences about 90% of the gravity felt on Earth, so with its orbit of around 250 miles or 400 kilometers above the sea level, it is only the centrifugal force caused by the speed of 4.76 miles per second that keeps it from crashing down like a fireball. Number 3, the sun is yellow. So if you ask any kid to draw and paint you the sun, the chances are it's gonna be yellow or orange. This is probably how most of us used to, or even today, imagine it, mainly because for the most part, that is how we see it here on Earth. The thing is, however, when we look up, we don't actually see the true color of the sun, but rather its distortion and dispersion caused by the particles in the atmosphere. Depending on part of the day or the angle at which sun rays hit the ground, we can see anything from bright yellow and white to orange and red that's usually appear right before sunset. The true color of the sun is, well, all the colors. The reason why we see different ones is the difference in wavelengths that each color has, thus depending on the thickness of the atmosphere that it has to travel through, it gets dispersed in a different way. The best example is when we look at the rainbow, we can see all of them separated, revealing us the secrets of this shiny glowing ball. Number 4, the moon has a dark side. So you probably heard about the secret and dark side of the moon that was a source of imagination for a lot of people throughout the centuries. Anything from secret Nazi lunar base to a developed civilization that keeps us in the dark about their existence. None of this, however, is true simply because the moon has no dark side. See, it is true that we can only see one side of the moon here from Earth, and the reason for that is the fact that the moon is in a tidal lock with the Earth that prevents it from rotating faster than it takes it to rotate around the Earth. The other side, however, gets plenty of sunlight when the moon finds itself in between the Earth and the sun on its way to complete a 24-hour cycle. Because of the nature of this, both sides of the moon get almost equal amounts of sunlight without any permanent dark spots. Number 5, the sun and the moon are the only celestial object that can be seen during the day. We all know that the very fact that makes it day here on Earth is that glowing ball that we call the sun. Most of us has also seen the moon usually at the early or late stages of the day, getting its moment of glory outside of, shall we say, normal working hours. Many, however, think that these two objects are the only two that can appear during the day, and that is simply not true. See, Venus, for example, due to its proximity to the Earth, can be seen with the naked eye during the day if the conditions are right. The amount of light it reflects is enough for it to appear as a bright star, just like it does during the night. The next one is a bit more challenging but not impossible, and that is Jupiter. Due to its sheer size, it's able to appear as a distant light and can be spotted by a well-trained eye if you know where to look. Finally, many man-made satellites can be seen carving their way across the sky at various times of the day. Number 6, we have tides on Earth because of the moon. So tidal changes in our oceans happen on a regular basis, and they're characterized by rising and falling water level in our bodies of water at different points of our planet. Now, as you were probably told, the moon is the culprit behind it, and it's been defining this cycle for millions of years. This is true, the moon is the main actor in the water play simply because it is the object with the most mass and gravitational pull in the vicinity of our planet. The sun, however, is another important factor that significantly contributes to these effects due to it being the largest object in the solar system. Technically, any object with mass exerts gravity, so if the other object is within its gravitational field, it is able to affect it, such as in this instant. Number 7, all comets have tails. So you're probably aware of the shiny ice and dirt balls that blaze through the space while they leave a long trail of white light that resembles a tail. Comets indeed look like this, but only at certain conditions when they get too close to the star. See, because of their composition of mostly frozen water, dirt and carbon dioxide, they start to melt as soon as they approach the star and experience its heat radiation. This results in the material being removed and chipped away in a form of gas and dust shaped like a bright thread that always points away from the star. So that brings us to the end of another video. Thank you very much for your continuous support. This channel has been growing exponentially and a lot faster than I have ever anticipated. If you want to support me, you can consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. I also have a Patreon account, and you can find the link for that down in the description and the pinned comment. In the meantime, you can watch some of my other videos, and until I see you in the next one, stay safe.